Right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our virtual conference, which this evening is going to be about celebrating 2025 and the wonderful international collaborations that have taken place, started, developed, and blossomed and come to fruition this year. So we have couple of wonderful speakers who have gladly and agreed to join us this evening to tell us their wonderful stories and their wonderful journeys that they've been on. And they are real beacons of what it means to be a global school alliance, global school. And so I will welcome them now, but I'll introduce you to them just later on. Okay, so this afternoon or this evening, what we're going to start with, I just want to say what a fantastic year for us here at Global School Alliance 2025 has been. Just to give you a little brief overview, we are thrilled with the impact that we have on a day-to-day basis and the wonderful partnerships I'm very privileged to work with amazing teachers and students across the globe. And this year, just a few figures to kind of put things into a little bit of perspective. We've had over 2,000 students have travelled across the globe in programs and visits organised through us here at Global School Alliance. 54 school leaders have visited 8 different countries on leadership delegations, ranging from China, India, Peru, Argentina, as I say, Morocco, 8 different countries we visited this year, and we've taken school leaders and teachers along with us. And overall, we've had an extra 4,455 educators have joined us this year to make our community, I think it's well over, is it 15,000? Something like that now. So we are very, very privileged to have such a wide-reaching community. So once again, thank you all for your wonderful efforts in just really opening up the world to the young people that you work with. So thank you very much to each and every one of you. This afternoon, if you want to use the chat function, we will be manning that when we're listening to our wonderful speakers. So if you do have any questions that we can put to them at the end, then please pop your questions in the chat. Please introduce yourselves in the chat as well. And if you do want to share comments on social media channels, then please use the hashtags to actually, again, widen the reach and to reach out to all of the Global School Alliance community. I'm sure you all know about us, but just to go over a little bit about what we're proud of. We are proud of our community and the way that we connect educators around the world, and we provide this place for networking, for sharing best practice, for opportunities to really improve school offers and to improve the outcomes and the opportunities for the young. I think it's much more than that now. Obviously, it's probably near 15,000 globally minded teachers in over 140 countries across the world. And we are really, really proud of the partnerships that we set up and how we see those develop. Platform is still available to people. Please sign up for free. There you can find the news feed. You can find out lots and lots of ideas and activities that we're being involved with and details of our competitions and our resources. You can join groups, read articles, and so much more. So if you're not already a member, then please join Global School Alliance. That would be great. We'd love to see you on there. And just before I do hand over, again, a little word about our Global School Awards. So these are a series of awards that you can achieve with your schools for your global dimension within your school. The bronze level is really an awareness and an intention. So if you are just starting out on your global journey, then please get in touch with us and we can assess and see whether you're at bronze level. It's just really having potentially a little action plan in place of things that you'd like to do on a global platform. Silver, we encourage partnerships and sustainable projects and collaborative work with schools abroad. And for gold, it's really a sustainable partnership where global education is embedded throughout the school and throughout the curriculum. And that's a really prestigious award. And we're glad to have presented that to Kelly, who you're going to hear from later. We presented that to her school in the summer. At our conference, sorry, it was just after the summer at our conference, for all the work that her school has been putting into to really embedding the global dimension. So, a few other links there for you. As I say, please join us. You can create an account with us. You can also join the Student Council. We are relaunching our Student Council in January. It's going to be brand new with a clear defined structure that the students can participate in, looking at global issues that matter to them. If you're interested in more details, we will be running a teacher briefing the first week back in January. I think it's the 8th of January. So again, we'll be sending out details about that. And finally, just before I do hand over, and our two guest speakers this evening will be able to explain what they do in a school much better than I can, but GSA are here to support you and your school on a journey to embedding the global dimension within your school. So we can help you to establish partnerships, we can find school partners for you, we can help you begin that partnership, start the collaboration, particularly linking it to your curriculum, maybe in languages, or you have another focus that you'd like to pursue, something that we can support you with. We really want to help you to embed an international approach across the whole school, so you can ignite that cultural awareness and that empathy for others, and really future-proofing your students for a global world that they're going to be entering. And obviously, we're also here to support you with your visits, whether that's immersive visits for your students, reciprocal visits when your partner school come back and visit you, and equally, as we've mentioned before, the leadership delegations where teachers can also take part in real professional development and life-changing visits as well to different countries, different schools, different education systems. So, thank you all again for joining us. I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to hand over to Sarah, who is going to share her journey with us. I'm not going to say any more than that, Sarah. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and your wonderful school.
Thank you. So I hope that you can see my screen.
We can, Sarah. That's it. Yep, perfect.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Okay. So my name's Sarah Ferris, and I'm Director of International Programmes at Highworth Grammar School here in the southeast of England, in Kent, not far from the Channel Tunnel. So good location for our development of global learning. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how the Global School Alliance has helped us to embed international programmes here at Highworth. And I hope that I'll leave you with some useful ideas and some tips to help develop global learning in your own schools. I've divided the presentation into these 5 key parts: my role, how international programmes is embedded in our school, in the ethos and in the curriculum, our Global School Alliance partnership links with China, Japan, Morocco and Mexico, those all-important partner school visits and leadership delegations which bring the partnerships to life, and the value that these bring for both our students and our staff. So I hope this will be of some use, and there will be time, of course, for questions at the end. So 4 years ago, the head teacher gave me a blank slate to develop international programmes. And I thought first about our school ethos, because I felt that this should embody it. And on the screen here, I hope you can see reach. And what I'm aiming to do through international programmes is to encourage students to reach for the stars in the international context, so that we are educating students who will be able to go out into the world and compete and contribute. So both important: compete, we're a grammar school, that is important, but also contribute. So we're developing global citizenship and the knowledge and understanding of the world that will enable our students to make a difference. With that in mind, I divided international programmes into 3 dimensions. I thought first about sustainability and bringing the world into the school. My contract was initially 1 year, and we're 4 years in now, and luckily I've been able to bring in enough money to cover the cost of me. So, that is a practical consideration. So achieving sustainability and bringing the world in, I've done by bringing international students into the school. They make a financial donation, which helps to fund our international programmes. And of course, they physically bring the world into our school. We have a vertical tutoring system. So by carefully placing those students into across our 7 different learning communities, we can ensure that they come into contact with as many of our students as possible. The second dimension is our international learning. A little more of that to come, but this is where the Global School Alliance has been particularly helpful in developing school partnerships. And through those partnerships, and by tapping in to the different cultures represented within our school, we can have really authentic celebration of culture on culture days and whole school lessons that go out to every class across the school and reach all staff, which allow us to explore those cultures in a deeper way. So there's a combination of fun and exploration. The third dimension is studying abroad and careers for languages, with the idea of opening up opportunity. That can be visiting speakers, sometimes in conjunction with our partner schools. And I have a monthly programme which students can tap into. Now, of course, that's quite a lot to manage on just the few hours a week that we have for our responsibility posts. And it reached the point where I thought, can't do this on my own. We do have some very able, very keen students. So I have a little prefect team, which helps to lead the programmes. And I have 30 student ambassadors from across the year groups and key staff who've shown an interest, who help to disseminate across the whole school. Through this, of course, we can network out into the local, national and international community. I've developed links with our local Rotary Club, obviously with the Global School Alliance, and with our local and regional museums, which means that we can share what we're doing locally and internationally. And that has been very, very exciting. A little bit more about each of those 3 dimensions. I mentioned bringing money into the school. It started quite a small scale, but has grown. The student donations are voluntary, but I work with a number of language schools. We have a maximum of 10 international students at a time, so that they are mixing with our students. And that total value of donations has very much helped to gain the support of the head and the governors, because I'm covering the costs of what I'm wanting to do. So when I wanted to build on the initial culture days and branch out into the leadership delegation visits, I was able to say, look, I've brought this money in, can we use some of it to pay for this? And so far, I haven't had a no. International learning is achieved in two ways: working with our international partner schools and celebrating a culture day each term. The choice of those culture days is based on the cultures we have represented within the school. So I've analysed the school data. Our biggest cohort by ethnicity, our biggest subgroup is Nepali, followed very closely by Indian and Chinese. And so those were my starting points. And as you can see here, just a little insight into what's happened in terms 1 and 2. Our partner schools span the world, mirroring our student connections. Every year, I take our New Year 7 down to our map in the main corridor with a different coloured pin each year. They pin their global connections onto the map. The ethos is, of course, taking pride in our connections, understanding that we have a worldwide network as a school, and developing the concept that culture is something exciting to be celebrated, rather than something perhaps that is other. The third dimension is studying abroad and languages for careers. I've just put a little screenshot there of the plan for the year so you can see an idea of how that works. If you're interested in any more, I can share that with you more fully. So alongside this monthly programme, the whole school is involved every year on the 26th of September, appropriately the start of the year, with the European Day of Languages. And I also run an annual UK TEFL training for the sixth form and an annual civic exchange delegation to our twin towns. We have twin towns in Fougères in France and Bad Münstereifel in Germany. By working with our borough council, I've been able to set up funded visits during which our students deliver a trilingual presentation to the mayors of the three towns and a delegation from the local councils and the local town twinning associations. This, of course, gives our students a fabulous experience, and it also funds the trip. During the first 2 terms, we have had a barn dance, again, networking with the local community and working with the Town Twinning Association, gave us an opportunity to take our school band to play with the Ashford Folk Band at a traditional barn dance. We had our International Programmes Culture Day, held on European Day of Languages, but this year I advertised the event to the whole school and invited any students with a connection internationally to come and run a stall, which could be a game, a competition, maybe some food. I booked a room and found there was standing room only because 90 students appeared, even though it was lunchtime. So I think that's one that we will develop. The civic exchange I mentioned to Fougères in the centre there, you can see 2 of our students feeling very much the part as they delivered their presentation and seamlessly flowed from one language into the other. Being able to go and do this in real life to a real audience really inspired them. And I started off thinking, we'll allow them to do one language at a time. And they came to me and said, Mrs. Ferris, we think we could just glide from one language into the other and back again. And it was a real treat to see. The mayors were so impressed that they've invited us to go back with twice the group next year. And they've offered us funding to produce the tourism app that we presented as part of the event. Culture days I run with students, underpinned by input from our partner schools. And our African and Caribbean connected students chose to talk this year about why we dance. And our term has finished with a festive race around the world. For the whole of Year 7, we challenged them to go out around the world to take virtual presents to our partner schools, and they competed to produce either the quickest, cheapest or most creative route. As you can see from the little images below from some of their presentations, we had all sorts of things. We had mathematical costed trips. We had very geographically precise routes marked on the map. And we even had the flying snowman and jetpacks, which were bought on Amazon and provided free transport around the world. And this followed up a transition day during the summer holiday when Year 7 came in to have a little taste of the school. And I was able to work with all of them and introduce them to the partner schools. And they competed to create a game. And so this has built on that. And we have further events in the year so that Year 7 get a really good grounding in our international connections. And they've just pinned their pins on the map. Alongside the Culture Days, we have partner school visits and leadership delegations. And this year, we're going to be hosting our partner schools in France, Germany, China. We'll be hosting our Indian partner school, and we'll have a visit from the head teacher of the International Dalton School Group, which we're very much looking forward to. Total immersion programs have also been a great way to bring the world into Highworth, something I'd like to develop. This again brings a financial contribution into the school, which helps to fund our work, and physically brings students in. This group came during the Lunar New Year Festival and helped our celebrations at Highworth. This group is from Korea. And this year, I have a total immersion group coming from China as well. So we had 17 Korean students, 2 teachers, 34 Highworth buddies, and a £5,100 donation to the school, which again should fund another leadership delegation visit. We've had 2 leadership delegation visits so far through the Global School Alliance, one to Japan last November, which I was lucky enough to take part in, and which I've used to underpin the art curriculum. We're now planning our trip with our partner school, Dalton School in Tokyo, and we started this with a Google Meet between the 2 schools. They helped us to plan our trip, and we helped them with their application for their entry for a Japanese tourism competition. They tried out their questions with us, they put them into an app, and they actually won the Japanese competition judged in Tokyo. This work leading to a visit will culminate in an exhibition of our collaborative artwork at the County Town Museum in May next year, and it will be opened by the Japanese Embassy and the former High Sheriff of Kent, the current Kent Ambassador. We're very much looking forward to this. And of course, another opportunity to network into the community. And as we found, all of these networks have opened up more opportunities. So it's been very exciting to see it grow. Our second leadership delegation through the GSA took place in March of this year. I gave this to one of my colleagues because we're underpinning computer science. As you may see, I'm on a mission to underpin the whole curriculum with international links. So far we have languages, art, computer science, and I'm underpinning music with our partnership through the Global School Alliance with Kerala in India. So one of my colleagues took this visit, had a really informative visit to China, launched a friendship with our new partner school in Fushan, and we're going out to visit in November next year. So I hope this has shown you how those first steps have really blossomed. This picture is the blossom in the sakura tree at Dalton School, our partner school in Tokyo. It actually blossomed at the same time as our sakura tree here in Highworth, which was a gift from the people of Japan as part of the Japanese Year of Culture. And we exchanged photos and shared them on our websites. I hope that this has given you a little insight into the development of global learning here at Highworth and the blossoming partnerships supported by the Global School Alliance. I would like to say a very big thank you to the Global School Alliance for all of your support, for helping our international partnerships to grow, and the wonderful network that you have opened up through events like this one today. I hope that some of these ideas will be useful to you, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing from the next presentation and taking away some ideas myself from tonight. Thank you. If there are any questions, I will be very happy to answer them.
Thank you, Sarah. That I'm sat here in awe of your commitment, your passion, and the hard work that you must put into the wonderful and really robust and breadth of opportunities that you're working on in your school. It's an absolute joy to hear. I've made lots of notes myself of things that I've thinking, oh, well, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that. Um, Nobody's put any questions in the chat at the moment, but the chat is still open, everybody. So if you do have any comments or any questions for Sarah, please write them down. And maybe if we've got time at the end after we've listened to Kelly, and then we can open up for some questions at the end. I hope that's okay. Um, as I say, I'll keep my eye on the chat. So lots of congratulations and thank yous, Sarah. So well done. I think
Thank you very
everybody is
much.
absolutely amazing, amazed by the work that you're doing with your students. So thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. I'm now going to pass over to Kelly, who is our second speaker this evening. She's just sharing her screen. And again, Kelly, I'll let you introduce who you are and where you come from and all the wonderful work that I know is going on in your school as well. Over to you.
Thanks, Julie. And thank you, Sarah. It was really exciting to hear some of the work that you've been doing. I was very lucky to go on one of the leadership delegations to Japan with Sarah. So it's been nice to catch up and hear about what you've been doing in school. So my name is Kelly Davis. I am an acting deputy head teacher with responsibilities for curriculum, but I also line manage our international hub within school. So our school is an 11 to 16 comprehensive school in North Wales. And we began our partnership with GSA about 2 years ago, maybe a little over. And this 2 year partnership has been so important in supporting us to, first of all, set up two partnerships. We have a partnership with a school called Takamaradai Junior High in Japan. And we also have a partnership school called Westminster High School, which is in Argentina. So, as well as these partnerships, GSA has been able to facilitate a successful leadership delegation to both schools, which has led to a number of things. It's led to a well-received trip to Japan with 20 of our learners, which doesn't sound like a big number compared to I think the 2,100 students that GSA has supported. But for our local community, was huge really in terms of one of the trips that we have run abroad in a long time, especially on the back of the pandemic. So that has been a really successful trip. But also, what I would say that those leadership delegations have opened up is a real shift in the way that we have thought as leaders in terms of bringing that international dimensions into school. It has made us think a little bit about sort of school systems and our curriculum, and has really enabled us to make some whole school level changes on the back of those trips. So that they've been a really important part of our journey. So in terms of the why, this has been so important, these partnerships and the learners that we've met and the colleagues that we've met on these trips. Our school, as I said, is in Wales, and we had a new curriculum presented to us 4 years ago. And part of the curriculum for Wales is about developing ethical, informed citizens. And it's something that the Welsh Government felt strongly about, making sure that the learners in Wales can compete internationally um, in all areas really of education. And also, our school values are aspire, responsibility, care, and really it's part of that aspiration is preparing young people for a world that is increasingly global and diverse and interconnected. So again, is really important for us moving forward to be able to compete as a small comprehensive school in North Wales globally. So, as well as those partnerships and the links that it gave our learners, which were really important because our learners visiting these partner schools brings with it a cultural awareness that you can't get from just delivering to them in a classroom, and really the empathy needed as young people to act on global challenges, but also to facilitate those long-lasting changes and school improvement. We needed to have a common language and a common framework that we could all work towards. So, as a school, we attended a GSA conference last year, and we had a session by the world's largest lesson. And that was the first time, really, that we had been presented with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which now are at the heart of everything that we do. So, on the back of this, we came back and we have had our own display designed with our own sort of personalised icons for each of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And we now use these to communicate with staff, to communicate with learners, to communicate with the community. But again, it's a common language now that can be used internationally, which has been really powerful for us. So, in terms of how we've used them, we had a group of learners that came together and talked about what were we doing well for each of the goals, the things that we maybe needed to do as a school, or the things that maybe existed, but we weren't really highlighting them and recognizing them enough. But under this framework meant that we could bring them to the forefront. And then from that, we have launched a global passport, which is based on the 17 goals. So learners can work towards a bronze, silver, and gold award for each of the 17 sustainable development goals. And at bronze level, this is all about sort of education and engagement in the goals. But then moving on to silver level, which involves them going a little bit above and beyond accessing extracurricular. And then the gold is really all about them engaging in the wider community. Um, for example, if you look at the no poverty, this is about finding a local charity, promoting it, thinking about what they can do to share it. So building that sense of community as well. So that's sort of early days for us, but something that we're really excited about launching. We have also made sure that we have built these global goals into our curriculum, because this is where it's really key, because this is where we have those real authentic opportunities where it's built into our curriculum planning and our curriculum delivery in certain areas. So, for example, that is one of the global goals in maths. So if I just take you back to those global goals, number 8, decent work and economic growth is something that the maths department focus on. And then this one here is from English, where they are focusing on key elements. So that means across our curriculum, we are really building up a mapping of authentic opportunities of exposing learners to these goals. We also use them in our alternate provision. So within school, we have an internal provision that we call the Learning Hub, whereby some of our learners that need a mix of mainstream plus an additional alternative curriculum can access. So we use these goals with them a lot to give them, again, a common language and a focus to the work that they're doing there. So they have done responsible consumption and production of food. We've got an eco garden set up and they'll spend time in the eco garden. We grew some rhubarb, and you can see here they've been baking and making cookies with the rhubarb. So it's all about bringing, a common kind of theme to the curriculum that can be accessed by a number of different learners. There's some of them working in our eco garden, which is lovely to see. I also just want to talk to you about a whole school system change we made on the back of our leadership delegation to Japan, whereby we have implemented the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. I don't know whether you are familiar with this or not, but it's all about a continuous improvement approach and a systems-driven approach to the way that things are run. So when we were in the classrooms in Japan, we were really, really blown away by their systems and their processes and the independence of the learners. We were able to go into the classrooms and eat with them at lunchtime, whereby the learners served each other food. They served each other, then they cleaned up after themselves, then they supported each other to prepare the classroom for the afternoon learning. And one of the things that I heard quite a lot from ourselves, really, as visitors to Japan, were comments on our learners couldn't do this. You know, we don't have that kind of culture in the UK, and they would never do this. And I felt quite passionate coming back that actually, you know, children are children internationally, and it's all about what we model to them. So we have got, you know, a system of high expectations at Conisky High School, and we talk to them a lot about the Pygmalion effect, and we talk to our staff about this, that the greater the expectation we put on these young people, then the better they're going to perform. So we came back and decided that with our next year 7 cohort, we would start training them in the ways of Kaizen. So we took a group of learners out to the Toyota factory, which we're very fortunate is on our doorstep, whereby they practice the Kaizen in terms of their signage and the systems and the things they've got into place. And then that group of learners came back and helped us design an area for our New Year 7 cohort. So in social times, again, really on the back of the pandemic and how things changed in light of that, we found ourselves reducing our learners to certain indoor spaces in social times where we could manage their interactions, so main hall, in the canteen, and we weren't allowing them to utilize some of the learning spaces. So we really wanted to take the opportunity for our year sevens as they came up from primary school, and quite often in primary school are used to doing those kind of leadership responsibilities, to train them better in being able to take responsibility for their school and their spaces. So we set up an area, and in each area they have expectations. So again, Kaizen's all about making the expectations really clear. So in each room, there are monitors, so year 7 monitors, who run through these expectations and make sure that the learners in that room are following them. And you can see here, you know, so although we have staff on duty still, the ownership is on the learners. So in this photo over to the left, we have 3 monitors that are just overseeing the room, following those principles of Kaizen, asking the learners to leave their bags at the front, to not be eating and drinking, and to be using the room appropriately. Which then has allowed us to be able to do things that we haven't done in a while, such as provide them with their own games equipment for outside, whereby they have them locked away, but they've got the code to that lock, and the monitors go and they supervise. And then we use a system called class charts, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with, to then reward them with those community points for their behaviour and their conduct. In the view that, you know, on the back of what was a leadership delegation to see a partnership school, that starting with our current year 7 and taking that through over the next 5 years, we will have a school whereby our learners can work across school during their social times, use all classrooms and all areas for enjoyment and socialising, whilst being responsible and engaged citizens. So far, we've had some really positive feedback about that from the learners, I think, because they appreciate being trusted and being able to contribute. And we're really excited to see how that develops. So I think in terms of just bringing it back full loop, again, I want to echo what Sarah said. Just a huge thank you to Global School Alliance. As Julie said, we were presented with our Gold Award last summer. And, you know, we really couldn't have done it without their support. We've been able to now stand back and be able to say that we are producing ethical, informed citizens in a very authentic way, that our learners are able to aspire and take responsibility and care because of that international work. And, for again, a small comprehensive to be able to say to our learners that they can go and access university and pursue careers whereby the jobs that they will be looking at increasingly involve those international collaborations. We feel really confident that we are producing learners that are going to be forward thinking and ambitious and that can compete globally with all learners. So yeah, thank you GSA for that. And we like to think we're still at the beginning of the journey and we've got a lot more that we still want to do. So we're really excited about our next steps as well. Diolch, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Kelly. It's absolutely wonderful. I know I was sat here thinking, I know I've heard you speak before and when you spoke at our conference, um, but to hear it again and to look at the photographs and to see just the impact that it's had, it's just amazing. So well done and congratulations on all the efforts and the hard work that you've put into getting it. Okay, you say it's the beginning of your journey, but it's amazing to see the work that you've done. So thank you. And thank you both, Sarah and Kelly, because I think this evening what we've seen and what we've heard is two very different approaches to having that global outlook and the impact of leadership delegations, of partner schools, of embracing the global dimension. Completely different impacts that we've seen within your schools. Obviously, one, Sarah, you mentioned a lot about the partnerships and the celebrations of the diversity and how they impact on your student community. And then Kelly, you've taken something, it came across to me something that a little bit different in terms of driving that whole school improvement and not just, yes, obviously the students are a huge part because that's ultimately, they're the people that we do all of this for. But looking at your curriculum and your systems so that every student benefits. So I think it's been amazing to hear how, and we're very proud here at Global School Alliance. We really, we're proud of what we do and we're proud of what we can offer and support schools to do. And just how it affects people in different ways is just amazing. The journeys are there. We can support you along your journey in whichever direction you wish to go. So again, I do thank you both from the bottom of my heart. Say thank you very much for contributing for us this afternoon. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to put in the chat? We haven't got any at the moment, ladies, so we might. Yeah, we've just, as I say, great presentation, insightful, lots and lots of thanks coming through. As I say, it's very, very inspiring to hear both of you. Yeah, so thank you again very, very much. If we have no questions, then I'm delighted to be able to bring the conference to a close. If anybody does have any questions later on, I could share my screen again with the final slide. Has it got things on it? I will just share just to make sure that I've mentioned everything. But thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. And if you haven't already done so, then please join us here at Global School Alliance. Get in touch with us. We can always put you in touch with Sarah and with Kelly if you've got any other questions. I'm sure they'd be willing to answer questions. But for now, I would say thank you both and thank you to everybody who's joined us. I hope that you have a lovely Christmas, if you're celebrating Christmas, or a winter break. And we look forward to seeing you in 2026. Thank you, everybody.